So what happened in the room while we were in here discussing?
Arm wrestling,
Oh.
fist fighting, it
All
was
right.
ugly.
Well, there is a winner, but it took some time to get there, and that was a good thing. There was a lot discussed, a lot of constructive feedback. There was a lot of good talking points about what they did right on stage, what they've done right with their branding, what they've done right with their liquid. One of the most important things that came out of the discussion was about telling your brand story. It was about telling your brand story. I'll say it again. Try it one more time. Telling your brand story. Everyone got it this time? All right. And some of the brands did a good job of identifying who they are, but in terms of articulating that on their packaging and in their presentations, that's where some of them could have done a little bit better.
Yeah, and I think as well, differentiating who they are from everyone else. So in the sea of craft breweries and the audiences that we're communicating to, I think it's important to have a unique position that stands out among the others.
It seemed like it was a pretty diverse group this year, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, one of the other things that came out of this was this discussion about, courageous innovation. Try it one more time. And it's sort of, Carmen, you said that it sort of speaks to where we are right now with the craft business.
Yeah, so at the session in New York in June, we had a hard seltzer as part of the competition, and that was the first non-beer entry. So I think that we have a cider and a non-alcoholic beverage for this competition. So 2 of the 5 were non-beer, and I think that really speaks to what's happening in the industry. And I give ourselves a pat on the back because I think that it's us responding and starting to listen to consumers in a stronger way. But it is, to me, really telling that's the shape of the Startup Brewery Challenge now.
How much do you, of a result of just there being 6,000 breweries, do you think that has on the fact that there were 2 of the 5 products that weren't more traditional beer offerings?
Well, I think that we're hitting a point of saturation right now, and that's why I think a distinct story is the most important, is one of the most important criteria for us to be talking about. I think that the nature of craft beer sort of appeals to a very specific audience, and we've sort of fatigued that audience. So it's important for us to sort of reach out and start talking to larger audiences in different ways.
And it was, I think you mentioned this on stage as well, you've got to be able to solve a problem that exists out there and bring new consumers to the category. And there was a question about what problem were some of these brands solving? How do you attract new entrants? How do you sort of stop the floodgates from people leaving craft at this point? And there were some interesting ways that brands are doing that at this point, at least in this competition.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, do you think some of these products were true solutions to problems or solutions in search of a problem?
I think that, so I'll just be really direct. I think that Partake specifically was a very, I think it definitely addressed a problem. So it saw that there was a problem and it was pretty personal, but I think that it's a problem that craft is facing in general. And, I can't remember who it was, but the higher alcohol beers that folks are used to consuming is, creating an environment where folks aren't consuming as much. Yeah. So I think that's a problem for the industry, as it was a problem for Mr. Fleming. So that, I think, is really important and a way for us to be sort of scratching the surface at what we need to be doing next to evolve craft beer, because we're not answering some questions right now.
Yeah.
There was also some discussion in the room about what target consumer base you're trying to reach. Who are you trying to talk to at this point? And where did you see some of the brands succeeding in knowing how to speak and communicate to the consumers, and how others didn't?
I think that there's like 2 separate things that happen, right? One of the things is knowing who you are and staying true to that, and then separately identifying who it is that you want to talk to and being very explicit and prescriptive about that. So, for example, with Shotgun, being everything to everyone doesn't really work. I think that that's a brand that does speak to a specific crowd, but you have to sort of like have the guts to be able to speak directly to that crowd, knowing that you might lose out on another crowd.
The other interesting thing that came out of this was that you had some really great liquid, but the consistency wasn't necessarily there throughout. And did you see that as being a problem for some of these brands going forward?
I think that we're seeing that more and more as a problem. I think that we mentioned this last time in New York as well. There was so much growth in craft that we sort of were growing at a pace and trying to catch up with ourselves, and various aspects of the business has suffered, and I think that we're seeing more of beer showing up as part of the suffering. So some inconsistencies for sure, maybe some incongruencies with the core of who the brewery is and the beer that represents it.
Chris, I want to ask you, I mean, when you were watching these brands up on stage, do you have a sense that beer and craft beer is evolving in the right way?
That's a tough question. Man, it sucks being on the other side of this. I just think it's gotten to the point where everyone is looking for something to set themselves apart, right? And that was pretty clear, whether it was a non-alcoholic product, whether it was like shotgun beer, for instance, which is going after a very specific image. I think that right now differentiation is, it's super critical to the success of a brand, and it's just getting harder and harder to identify white spaces and niches. I tried, I think, 3 or 4 of the beers, or 3 or 4 of the products, I should say, and I thought, wherever, I don't know where Tom's sitting, but Tom, your comments were like spot on. Like, you were articulating what I was thinking as I was thinking it.
He's still a better brewer than you are.
Yeah, a little bit, just marginally better. So I think that that right now it's just really, really difficult to match the liquid with the brand and the story, and to articulate it properly, and to do all of the things that we talked about today. It's just gotten really, really difficult. And so I think that we're also being ultra hypercritical of these brands too.
Well, I mean, the good thing is that you have some very skilled and influential folks who can help you along your journey, and those are the judges who are sitting here. And I encourage all the contestants to please seek out these judges and speak with them about how they can help your brand move forward. They all want to talk to you, so please do that. There is a winner, as I mentioned. Let's figure out who that winner is, or at least show who that winner is. That's Novo Brazil. Congratulations.
Nice.
Eduardo, come up on stage.
Nice. Where's the big check? The big check. Yes. Dude, congratulations. Am I getting in the middle awkwardly here?
It's awkward.
Did you do the middle the last time?
Always do the middle.
Cool. Congratulations.
Take a selfie.
Yeah.
The crowd in the back.
Yeah, let's do it.
Oops.
Awkward.
We need the Chainsmokers theme going right now. Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Don't forget this. You got to cash this. You got to cash it today. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining the 2017 Winter Brewbound session. And we hope to see you at some of our events in 2018. We'll have more announcements on that soon. But for now, let's go have a beer. Cheers.